right, this is moving day, and wouldn't you know, it's the coldest day of the year. Well, that's not saying much, it's January already, but it's 15 degrees outside, which is gonna be a problem when we push up that roll-up door and try to get all this stuff out of here. I just had a visit from the owner of the moving company. He wanted to come over and put an eye on everything before he brought the guys over so they kind of know what they need to do. And, you know, he's the one who came and quoted me the price and told me he thought we could have 2 days and, you know, that kind of stuff. And so he was really, you know, surprised to see how much progress had been made, taking the shelves apart and everything. So I still, in my mind, think this is going to be a one-day job, and I'm going to push real hard to do that. Not so much because I necessarily want to save money, although that would be nice. It's also because I just don't want this to drag on. I want to be able to get it all in there, and then starting the next day, just, you know, let's start putting stuff away, building the shelves where we want them and all that. So hopefully what'll happen, the guys will start in here, and obviously I have a lot of cleanup to do here before they get, but they'll probably be here in the next 15 or 20 minutes, so it gives me a little bit of time to sort of triage what I've got back here. And then I'm gonna try to stick this recorder up on a shelf there and just see if we can kind of watch the magic happen, but we'll see if that works out. All right, here we go, moving day. Well, we're back over here at the new building. The movers are a little bit delayed. We had the truck that they dropped off several weeks ago, the battery died, and so they weren't able to get that fired up. They called a mechanic, and he's on the site now trying to get it to turn over so they can get it over here. You're never really in charge, even when you're writing the check. All my expectations were we were going to make this a one-day move because I had spent, as you guys have seen in all these days, literally 3 weeks boxing up and breaking down that office to make it go fast. And I tell you what, to their credit, in about an hour and a half, they had a whole truck loaded. Just one truck though. They brought 2 trucks, they loaded one. And by 11:30, that was ready to go. What I mean by not being in charge is, if I had my druthers, or if I was in charge paying the bill, I would have had them go ahead and take care of loading up all that wood and get it in the back, their second truck, so we can make this a one-day deal. But somehow that's not what's gonna happen. They're saying they gotta save their bodies, which I guess it is a lot of work to do. So they're gonna just try to unload the 2 trucks. So what I gotta do now is be a little bit of a sheriff. I got some cars back here I need to run off that are blocking our loading dock, and then I need to get my employees to move. So I got some coordinating to do. All right, here we are at the end of day 20. The first round of moving is over, and you can kind of see what we did. We tried to leave this side completely alone, but for the most part, that's where all the live listed inventory was, and that's where my employees worked from today to catch us up on shipping. We had way over 200 orders, and this was backed up from when we had time away dealing with the move, and then we had the ice storm come in. And so I'm definitely gonna have to call eBay and say, hey, make sure we don't have any dings on our account from that storm, because we did have some that showed up as overdue. All right, so just to kind of walk you through this, basically, I know this looks like a big mess, and probably for some people watching this video, you're like, oh, this hurts my, you know, this gives me anxiety to look at. I get a little bit of that, but I also kind of have, you know, I've been in the same warehouse space for 6 years, okay? 6 years, almost. It was getting close to 6 years. And during that time, there were things that went up on a shelf that I hadn't looked at for a long time. And not to say that I forgot they were not, you know, they were there, but it's a little bit of out of sight, out of mind. And so one thing that I look at that gives me a little bit of positivity in looking at what I have to work on here over the next days and weeks is that I get to maybe rediscover some lost inventory, find things that I haven't seen, do some purging. My employees, to their credit, they were like, "You're not really going to move all this stuff, are you?" They were ready for the purge, you know, before we started packing and shrink wrapping stuff. But maybe this is why I'm in this problem. I was like, no, it's all got to come over. But honestly, part of that was because I wanted to be able to lay eyes on everything and see what we had, you know, whether it's tech like old printers or things, or just I mean any kind of stuff here. I wanted to be able to lay eyes on it, and then I can find, you know, basically there's sort of a test now of does it have a place in this new building or not. And so I'll go through all this stuff and decide that, and some of the stuff, you know, won't make the cut. That'll be fine. So we got our we started to get our best hobby page room fired up. This is, they didn't get all of the brown shelving over here, and so this is just kind of the bare bones right now. But there'll be another table coming, and then 5 total units of shelving will come back here, so we'll have plenty of room for all that. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to work really, really well. You can see also the color coding. I mentioned this in prior videos. So pink was kind of stuff that kind of came from my office, kind of the front of the room there. Blue items were things that I considered more office-y stuff, like from the shipping office, and also active items where we had sorted them. And some of them we'd photographed, but a lot of these we have sorted them and we didn't want them to get out of order. So we got a whole mountain here of stuff that is sorted but not yet photographed. And then this is on the bottom, again, that's live listed inventory. You saw that in another video. As I mentioned, in day 20, they worked on the workstations. So we had all 4 workstations kind of set up and running, and they were able to knock out, really get us caught up. I mean, I think we're basically caught up on all of our stuff. So I'm real happy about this. Again, as I keep saying, this is not the permanent setup because it's just gonna look a lot better than that, I promise. And then this is gonna get dark, so I apologize because this is, the lights at the end of the back here. So we're in the dark right now. Don't worry, there's gonna be light. Here it comes right now. Okay. So this is all stuff that is either part of my collection, and then the other half of it, so yellow are things that I kind of consider part of my collection pieces or historical things I want to hold on to for now. And then things with red dots, that is stuff that are collections that I have purchased, but I have not listed yet. And so I buy these little small box collections, is what I like to call them, from scouting collectors and families. And then, of course, we do the unboxing videos and get them all open. So I have a lot of inventory here already bought and paid for that I have not gotten into, and then some other stuff there. All right, and then kind of the scary room is back here. Again, it's gonna get dark here. I haven't turned the lights back on. All right, where's the light switch? Oh, it's over here, I think. There you go. Okay, I'll turn this around. You're gonna be like, oh crap. Remember when I said I had a what's it called? Death pile, right? Or Money Mountain. And I said it was like a death pile truck or a death truck. I don't know. Here it is. Wah, 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 wah. Oh my God. Talk about stuff now some of this stuff we actively have been working on. So like this is a recent collection I bought, and we have actively been working on this. Some of this is stuff that we have very well organized, and then some of it is not. And so I've got over here, because of the wetness, we are dragging in water onto the carpet, so I set this fan up to dry out the carpet. I don't want to get damaged. But this is kind of my death mountain pile. Again, you know, if you emptied out every shed you had, every inch of your garage, you might have one of these as well. But there's a lot of stuff here. So I got to go through this stuff and decide what stays and what goes. And luckily I have this big room, so this is kind of at the back of the building. It's not something that we have to it has to happen like right away. So that was kind of one of the reasons why I left some rooms completely empty, and then some rooms like this will kind of stay kind of rough for a while, but that'll be all right. So looks like my guys did not follow what I asked them to do, though. You know, at some point I wasn't watching. We have a plumbing, you know, ripped open this wall here, so we get to the plumbing, and they kind of filled that in. So I have a sign that says do not put anything against this wall, but get what you pay for. So this is the wrap on day 20. Day 21, we will have the last part of the move, which will be the lumber will come over. And I talked to my employee Lori yesterday about the lumber and ideas for shelves and stuff. But you know, essentially, everything that's going to stay has to go on a shelf. Nothing's going to, well, in theory, nothing's going to stay on the floor. And we have plenty of wood for shelving and stuff, so we can get everything up in the air, I think. So it's just going to be a long process. So day 20 has been a rough one, but of course, mostly what I did was just tell people where to put things. So it wasn't that rough on me, but I know the guys did a good job. So I'm going to go call it a wrap for tonight, and see you on day 21. Jason Spangler, the SanteeSwapper. Check me out on eBay, and don't forget there's a playlist that you can click to watch all the videos in this 30-day series.